entered this dystopian era that we've been watching on Black Mirror. So I thought, as a Capricorn stellium, I would be strategic in putting out what my wishes are. For those of you who follow my content, if you know a queer couple who has been a couple for quite some time who is looking for a lavender arrangement, let me know. My wife and I are coming up with contingency plans in the event that gay marriage is no longer not only legal but also becomes criminalized. At that point we would have to have husbands. So, a set of gay boys who are looking for a set of gay girls. It seems like a perfect arrangement. My inbox is open only for those types of invites. Now, in another reference of art imitating life or life imitating art, the Barron-Trump collection rather, is an interesting read. It's basically a trilogy with, 3 various books, with one of them entitled The Last President. Those of you who don't know what this is about, you should go check it out and look at the references with President Donald Trump. This book was published on July 26, 2020, and a lot of what was represented in this piece of art, in part, is what we're living now. This trilogy basically talks about the troubles and adventures of little Baron Trump and, some of the things that Baron Trump learns along the way. A lot of it is very fictional, obviously, but there's some references here that I think are very interesting. In other words, this art has made me think of Black Mirror and the end of, democracy as we know it, which is essentially what's taking place now. In some regards, some of the message that Trump is bringing the American people are hard to swallow, but I wouldn't say that he is entirely wrong. Although I did not vote for Trump, I understand the logic of Trump, which is that America has never truly been a democracy. So let's stop pretending that it is. And let's institute systems in place that make it that it's not, that it's obviously not in the way that it runs. And then let's capitalize off of that. Because when you look at the position of America on the global scale, every other big institution is under one leadership, whether we're talking about communist China or communist Russia, or we're talking about the UK. There's a lot of pressure from world leaders on that stage to have America be more predictable, because predictability is good for the stock market, which means it's good for a global economy. But the US changes leadership every 4 years, and that in and of itself creates chaos in the market. Because with every new leader, you get a new set of rules, and those sets of rules sometimes conflict one another. So in true Aquarian fashion, the US is having to kind of reckon with the truth of the limitations that come along with our democracy. It is true that we fought for our democracy. It is true that, Europeans left, the UK because it did not want to be under the leadership of the monarchy. However, what we've noticed from the poll results around this time is that when left to their own devices, many people choose to vote against their own best interests. I'm not necessarily saying that I have the answers to this crisis, but I just want to encourage discussion. My first question is it truly a free democracy if the people are not able to make decisions that are good for the democracy? And if we're blaming the media or the propaganda for them making decisions that don't align with their best interest, then are they really in control? Where is the control? Is it with the empire or is it with the people? Because our democracy says the control is with the people get to choose, but in reality, the electorate chooses for the people. And it's a lot more complex than the average American actually understands. So the average American does not understand politics enough to understand how to navigate it to elect a leader that actually benefits their well-being. Then what is the value of that opportunity if that opportunity is not being exercised in a way that benefits them, let alone the rest of the people? I'm not saying that I have the answers, but it's something to think about. America looks like a democracy, but doesn't actually function like a democracy. So if all of us are in agreement that America doesn't function like a democracy, and that America isn't a democracy in the sense that the average Joe can come off the street with no relationship to power and get put in that position. If we all agree that that is not possible, that is not feasible, like Kamala Harris coming off the street and becoming a leader, if we all agree that leadership is determined from inside the house, then what is the point of having a system that gets people riled up every 4 years to go vote, and that gets people emboldened really to believe that their worldview is the only worldview, when in reality the worldview is determined by those that are in charge. And if we're saying that those that are in charge are brainwashing the populace, which is why people are making terrible decisions that end up harming them, are we then saying that people no longer have the free will to choose for themselves? Where does that responsibility lie? Is it with the people, or is it with those in power? Because if the people are choosing choices that harm them, is that what's good for America? Again, I don't have the answers, but I just want us to think about this. I want us to think about the fact that when given the option, most people choose to vote against their best interests. The right to vote is monumental. I'm not taking away from that. I understand many people have died for that right. But what does it mean when it's given to people who use it to harm themselves? At what point does the leadership, the power, step in to protect them from themselves? And is that an authoritarian type of leadership? It raises a lot of questions, this election, about the democratic process as we know it. So this idea of the last president, this trilogy, really highlights the fact that this may very well be the end of the democracy, the full democracy that we've had for a very long time. And Gemini, in true fashion, says things that folks don't want to hear because their ideas are outlandish. Gemini is the star that was sent to Earth to share new information with the people, to give the people a new point of view. Again, did not vote for Trump. I'm not a big fan. However, I want you to consider the logic of Trump. Trump is saying, let's cut out the bullshit. That's basically what he's saying. Things aren't what they are, so stop pretending that they're one way when they're not. The same thing that got Diddy arrested is the same thing that got Trump elected. I know Democrats are very, powerful in Hollywood, and they're the ones who gave Trump a platform, and they're the same ones who allowed Diddy to do what Diddy did for all these years. And all of them have been quiet, right, since all of this has come out. But there is this impression that we have that the Democratic Party is the nobler party. But according to whom? What if this is all a game? And the person that is at the top of the pyramid is in charge no matter what. And everybody's going to fall into their position according to what has been determined from the top down. And what if Trump is just saying, let's just cut out the charade and deal with the reality of that? The reality being that, King James, who wrote the King James Bible was hired to do so. And that all of this is about control of the populace. I just shared a video today that I retweeted about King James' first book being about witchcraft before writing the King James Bible, which is now one of the most popular Bibles all across the world. And he was hired to do so. A lot of what you think is reality isn't reality. That is all that I'm saying. I predicted a Kamala Harris win because that's what astrology wanted. And clearly, the dark forces are much, much greater than I imagined. You want to see what the astrology forecast is for today? Here we go. Well, today the sun is in Scorpio, the moon is in Capricorn, Mercury's in Sag, Venus is in Sag, and Mars is in Leo. A lot of fiery energy here. What I did not give enough credit to is what's going on right here. Do you see that? Jupiter in Gemini, retrograde. Trump is a Gemini sun. Saturn in Pisces, retrograde. Uranus in Taurus, retrograde. Neptune in Pisces, retrograde. Pluto in Capricorn, slam dunk. 29th degree, history making move. You guys decided to give Trump the mic again because there's lots of things Trump hasn't said yet about the economy. There are lots of things that Trump has not said yet about power, real power, where it stands and how it's used. More importantly, you guys over here are getting into Neptune energy, which is Hollywood. Neptune in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces. You guys created the dream that is Donald Trump. That's what Pisces is. It's a dream. It's a fantasy, okay? And you guys tried to destroy him after you gave him a platform and sold him to us, and then turned around and threw him under the bus for the very creation that you chose. You see that? Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces means that dreams are being reviewed. And the dreams that you had for Trump, he switched sides and he decided to go on his own because you guys could not be trusted. You know, that's the thing about Republicans that I like. Republicans are who they say that they are. They don't actually pretend to be something else. They tell you to your face who and what they are. And I respect it. Now let's look at America's chart. 4th of July, 1776. That's actually when the Declaration of Independence was first brought to the table. As you can see, America is a Cancer stellium with a Jupiter in Cancer, Venus in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, and Sun in Cancer. You wonder why you don't see it coming? Because a call is coming from inside the house, baby. When it comes to Cancer, you're never going to know where you stand. It's all an illusion. It's all a fantasy. That's the thing about water signs. Cancer, Pisces, yes, Scorpio, very slippery people. You've got to watch them because ultimately these people make decisions from emotions. They don't make decisions from logic. They make decisions from what feels good, what feels right, what they love, and what they want to protect. And America does not play about protecting herself. And you know what she cares about? Family, making money, minding your business, and living in your comforts. That's it. If you focus on that, you would do really great in America. Now, what you see right here is when the Declaration of Independence was actually signed, which goes back to a Leo date a little bit later after it was dated. Now, you can see America is still a Cancer stellium on the day that she was signed. So America is a bit like this wife who is deeply unhappy with her husband and complains to all her girlfriends about him. And whenever her girlfriends ask her to leave him, crickets. Because she doesn't actually want to live. She doesn't actually want to leave. She doesn't actually want to be independent and to take care of herself. She wants to be a trad wife. She wants daddy to do it for her and to make all her dreams come true and to protect her and keep her safe. So she chose daddy. Does anyone know a Cancer woman that's perpetually in a toxic relationship with somebody that she claims loves her but treats her like trash all the time? Yeah, that's what's happening here right now. So my higher self knew that the right answer was evolution, but my lower self underestimated how dark the darkness is. So America, you've been warned, the next 20 years is going to be filled with the kind of darkness you never knew was possible. You will become so deeply desensitized from the horror of it all that you will be forced to actually start thinking. This is where that Mars and Gemini energy is going to come in, because you will have to actually start to turn off your emotions and use your brain to get ahead. That's where we're headed. And Black women, this is only for Black women, I need you to mind your business, to take care of your affairs, to look out for yourself, and to stop trying to rescue everyone and their children. Because the truth is, they don't care about you, and they never will. So it's your job to care about you. Okay? This is what we chose. That's what democracy is. Democracy means we have a choice. And the thing about free will is that it does not protect us from the consequences of our decisions, because in reality, nothing is ever free. Everything has a price. And I hope, America, for your sake, that this one isn't too expensive for us. In Aquarius is about rebellious compliance. Aquarius is all about rebellious compliance. In fact, that is my specialty as an Aquarius rising. Because you know what? You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. It's not happening. I'm not giving in. I'm not folding. My authenticity, who I am, my DNA is mine. I own it. Pluto in Aquarius is calling you to claim what's yours and to fight for it. Rebellious compliance. Saturn is about rules and regulations, so you have to follow the rules. However, with Uranus, we want to progress. We want to evolve and further develop the human race. And we're not going to do that if we're not willing to think outside the box. So follow the rules, but think outside the box. That's what Aquarius energy is. And naturally, that kind of chaos brings paradoxes. Because how are you a rule follower and a rule breaker at the same time? And that is the beauty of Aquarius. And that's why Aquarian energy is very irritating to a lot of people. Because on one hand, we fit inside the box. We know how to follow the rules. But on the other end, we don't care to do it your way. Because we know our way is better. Not better for you, but better for us. And what we refuse to do is follow your way because you think your way is better for us. Same with social media. I think the whole concept of it is two-sided. On one hand, it's good for promoting your content and getting your voice out in the world, but it's also a minefield of toxicity. Rebellious compliance. I come on, I do what I want to do, and I get out. I sometimes hire people to promote my stuff. Sometimes I don't. Those of you that have been doing the social media thing much longer than me, let me know in the comment box. Is there any value to social media promotion? I don't know the answer to that question yet. I'm hoping I can figure it out. Now, let's get into historical events that have happened during Pluto in Aquarius. The reason why Pluto in Aquarius is so monumental is because it hardly ever happens in the world of astrology. In fact, this is the only reason all of us incarnated into this life is because we chose to live during the most rebellious time of American history ever. Because Pluto takes about 248 years to orbit around the sun. 248 years. A human life is not even that long. So some people will never get to know what it feels like to live through this era of Pluto in Aquarius. God made it special just for us. So let's talk about what has happened before when Pluto was in Aquarius. And that was from 1778 to 1798. The American Revolution took place. And for those of you who don't know, that's when the American colonies in Great Britain fought the War of Independence from 1775 to 1783. Next, we have the French Revolution. The French Revolution began in 1789. Next, we have the Age of Enlightenment. You see that? Enlightenment. Aquarius is represented by lightning in astrology. Aquarius is the light bearer. Are you getting the theme so far? The Age of Enlightenment basically laid the groundwork for the democratic institutions that we have now and the human rights that we're fighting for. Those were put into place during the Age of Enlightenment, okay? Next, the discovery of Uranus. Ding, 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 ding. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. The planet Uranus was discovered in 1781 during Pluto in Aquarius. Next, the ratification of the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is the foundation of all the rights that we currently have, okay? Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791. Next, we're moving on to the start of the Reign of Terror. The Reign of Terror started in 1793. And next, we have the invention of the hot air balloon. The hot air balloon was invented, allowing humans to rise above the heavens. That was the very first time that humans went that high up in the sky. Now, when you think about the position of Uranus in the sky, of Aquarius, you can see how all of this makes sense, because Aquarius is all about being here and looking down. And that's why oftentimes Aquarius comes across as condescending. It's not that we're trying to be condescending and that we think that you're less than us or less this or that than us. It's that we have no other choice but to look at life from this point of view. That's why it's hard for us to get into the weeds of like colorism and sexism and homophobia. We struggle with these concepts because we don't understand why humans don't see each other and one another, because we're looking at humanity from here. To us, you're all the same. And when the war between the humans and the aliens gets activated, your inability to see each other and one another is not going to help you succeed. There's a reason why the wealthy are looking to go to Mars. It's because they know things about Earth that you don't know, okay? Last time we had Pluto and Aquarius, we had the invention of the very first successful vaccine of smallpox. So the reason why we even have a COVID vaccine right now is because we invented vaccines during Pluto and Aquarius. This is why Aquarius rules science, yes. Is because all the scientific, inventions that were made during Pluto and Aquarius last time spurred the world of medicine that we know now. The discovery of the planet Uranus, as I've already mentioned, the American Revolution, as I've already mentioned, the French Revolution, as I've already mentioned. And lastly, last time we had Pluto and Aquarius, we had the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So all of this is information that you can research and read more about. I have done a lot of reading about this and research about this, and what I know about history is that history tends to repeat itself. Humans fight really hard to move the needle forward with human rights, and then they freak out that it's too weird and it's too free and it's too scary, and then they swing back. The pendulum is always swinging back and forth, and nothing is ever like this. This is why Libra struggles so much. The goal for all of us is to find that stability, right? But it's not easy to find, so we go like this. So humans in America are feeling that rights are becoming too available, and America's too accessible, and it's time for us to restrict because it's too loose. So that's what the vote was about. This vote for Trump was a vote to make things more restrictive, to encourage a free market and to reduce social protections. And within that chaos is an opportunity to build a lot of wealth. In fact, most people build wealth during times of war, which is what we're looking at. We're looking at times of war ahead. So you can choose to vibrate at fear and chaos, or you can choose to vibrate at hope and to see opportunity in the midst of the bullshit. This is why Scorpio is exalted at Uranus, because Uranus is the planet of progress, and Scorpio, as you know, is all about transformation. So if you're Scorpio rising, Leo rising, Aquarius rising, or Taurus rising, you're entering into the most transformative aspect of your life. Wherever you have these placements in your chart, there's a lot of abundance that's coming for you if you're willing to stand up for yourself, have a backbone, claim your throne, and sit on it. Now, wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, your ancestors are coming to collect their money. Wherever you have Scorpio and Aquarius, yes, your ancestors need that moolah, they need that money, and it's coming for you. So look at your chart, see where you have Scorpio. That's where you're going to be manifesting the most amount of money during Pluto and Aquarius. So I hope this is good news for you guys. And as always, stay positive. There's a lot of negativity to go around, but you can choose where you vibrate at.